Mamá, estoy en una llamada, pero te voy a preguntar para ordenarlo de Amazon. Ok, está bien, te lo hago. A ver. All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's rock and roll. Super excited to be on here today. Hopefully, everyone's having an amazing day. Let me just share this 1 second because I want to make sure that everybody is familiar with where they can access everything and tap in. Today, what we're going to be doing is discussing our Enigma system with some technicals. Now, unfortunately, we got to see what these markets are up to. We got to see what these markets are up to. So, first and foremost, my name is Anthony Tirado. Super excited to be here with you guys. For everybody who is watching this video, I want to make sure that you understand where you can tap in within our ecosystem inside Elevated FX. Whoever referred you to this group, or definitely reach out to them ahead of time. But for everybody who's already a member watching this video, I want you guys to go inside your members area, because once you're in there, you'll be able to tap into everything we have to offer, from our Discord community to your affiliate information to our services, right? Now, for everybody who's first time watching this, seeing this, I want to make sure that you join our Discord community, because this is going to be the hub where we discuss the markets. We check out what's going on. You'll be able to not only talk about the market, but also receive trade setups from the Enigma system if you're plugged in. Whenever we host webinars such as this one, we will literally drop those links and references for everyone to tap into, right? So the first thing everyone should do is definitely join that Discord community, verify it, so you can have access to all of your services that you tapped into. Now, aside from that, we do have our three mainstream product lines: our FX automation, our FX mastery, and of course, our FX capital. Starting off with our FX automation, this is literally tapping into resources that are automated, so it's working smarter and obviously not harder. Now, when you go into your FX automation, this is going to include our cash pips, our Enigma system as well as our Alpha Pro. You'll be able to learn a little bit more about them in there. Now, today's video, we're going to go a little bit deep into Enigma, right? So Enigma actually has its own tab. So I want you guys to select on that. And when you go to that Enigma tab, you'll be able to select right here on the playlist, check out some of those videos. We'll definitely continue to update that beast, but you'll also have your sheet that gives you a reference to identifying your email, your name, and your username. Once you've done all of that amazing information, best believe all you have to do is go back into your trading view. Over here keeping an eye on this UJ, we'll talk about it, but all you have to do is literally go into your trading view. Under invite onlys, you'll see Enigma, right? Now, if you have done that with Enigma and pullback pips, you will have access to these two indicators, right? Now, for those individuals who don't know where to access your pullback pips indicator, all you have to do is go to your FX mastery, and under the foundation, you'll be able to fill out this form that not only gets you set up introductory wise, but also breaks down the pullback pips, right? For anybody who's ever, if you ever have those days that you want to go through some content, best believe our FX mastery is where you want to be. Whether if that's introduction, whether if that's intraday sniping, whether if that's smart money trading, best believe you go into those playlists and you're going to have amazing references and videos to go through. Myself, Osman, and IT, amazing educators here to helping you guys elevate and take things to that next level, right? Now, what I want to do today is I want to take a moment and check out this Enigma system, check out some of these markets. So the first thing we're going to be able to do is reference some of these charts, right? Now, the first thing, let's start off with UJ, just because that was a recent trade setup that I want to see what we can get out of it, especially since we're still bearish. But let's see what we can do. So let's go into UJ first. Now, if you only have Enigma, then you'll obviously see your Enigma trade setups, right? You already know that all of these setups are literally institutional setups that give you 3-to-1. It gives you obviously your entry, your stop loss, and your take profit levels. One thing I want you to realize is, this system is over 65, 70% accurate, right? Being able to identify these entries, look at that, and then hitting TP1, 2, and 3, right? Now, the main thing you need to be able to do is whenever these come in, use proper risk management, right? Look at this one, entry, TP1, 2, and eventually 3. The great thing with our Enigma system is it's already working for you, right? It's already doing all of the hard work for you, identifying these trade setups. Literally, look at these with your analysis. Look at this. Oh my goodness, right? So the key thing you want to be able to do is stay consistent. Seriously, family, stay consistent, right? Give me 1 second. I want to make sure that we're here. We're here, family. We're here. Today, we're going to talk about Enigma. We're going to talk about how you can truly enhance your technicals utilizing this software with an amazing tool such as your pullback pips and everything you've been learning, right? So the great thing is now that you have this indicator, you have access to it. Literally, it's giving you everything you need to know. The next best thing that I would highly suggest make sure you do is have your pullback pips indicator, right? Let me just scroll through some of these setups. You will hit your stop loss, yes, but best believe whenever you get the setup, you will have those that hit your TP. As you can see, your wins are always going to outweigh your losses, right? So with that being said, currently on USDJPY, we did get the sell setup that already moved into TP1. Personally, I see that it's in a pullback in an ugly phase right now. So we'll have to see a little bit more about how can we minimize this risk if it does want to continue to the downside, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out our pullback pips indicator. For those who are not aware, this tool is going to help you do various things from identifying structure to helping you identify the bias in the market, right? So you can only imagine when you have your Enigma plus your pullback pips, it's going to be a monster, right? Literally helping you identify if you're in a bearish setup and the institutional setup is bearish, we're looking for that double confirmation to maximize. This trade already would have already hit TP1, moving into TP2. Right now it's currently at entry. That's why I am interested in it. But I do want to just show you the past examples as well, right? So you can literally see and identify that when you have a pullback pips indication telling you that you're bullish and the institutional setup is bullish, you have a double confirmation that's going to help you enhance and already be over 65% profitable, right? Look at this trade setup right here. We were already bearish. It's already telling us we're bearish in this market, hits TP3. This scenario, we're bullish, right? Look at this scenario. Look at the background color. That pullback pips is confirming these setups, right? So that's the first thing I usually do. And the great thing is inside Elevated FX, there's a video that breaks down pullback pips plus Enigma, right? So just from some of these reference, you're going to see the first confirmation I look for is, of course, getting the setup on Enigma, but confirming that with your pullback pips. When you're able to do that, have that double confirmation, a lot of the hard work is done for you, right? All you have to do now is use proper risk management. Risk management is going to be a key player, especially in situations where the market pulls back or even hits your stop loss, right? So for those individuals watching this video, I want to know what you guys are currently looking at, which currency pairs you guys are checking out. You know, we did have some nice setups that occurred. Look at EJ. Look at, oh my goodness, EJ took off. Literally all last week, this week, had some setups that played nicely, right? Right. Look at that. Some of these setups are nice. Some of them, hey, you do hit stop loss. But best believe you will have those trades that hit TP1, 2, 3, right? Look at these setups right here. Imagine getting these trade setups, right? Let's just play that back so you guys can see how this system would come in. So as you already know, you got your pullback pips that's already helping you identify that you're bearish. When this market closes right there, you saw it, it literally helps you identify your trade setup, giving you your entry, your stop loss, and your what? Your targets of where you're going in this market. The great thing is, if you noticed, once it broke this area right here, this was actually a structure area that it referenced as it's pushing to the downside, right? So that was literally just a beautiful move as it just went off and took itself to the downside, right? Always a great thing that I personally like to do is if I ever see the reference, I still identify my technicals, because this level, this range, even if it moved into almost TP2, this definitely could have been your re-entry to taking this market on down. Even though you did get the setup right here, which was perfect, TP1, 2, and 3, you know, just helping you guys see some things. Because best believe you could have had a setup just like this where you could have been minimizing that risk. Look at that 18 pip risk and pushed it down for 74, you know, literally just making it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Now, today, what I want to do is I want to check out some of these markets and just see what Enigma's talking. Some of them, we might not have a setup, such as EJ. So we're just going to, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start from zero. And let's just grab some of these pairs. If there's any currency pairs that look good, best believe we'll talk about them. All right. So if there's anything that I'm missing, let me know. We have our USDs, we have our euros, we have our GBPs. Let's bring out some AUDs and NZDs, right? AUDs and NZDs. All right. Beautiful. So it's easy, it's simple, because all you have to do is have the system up and you'll be able to identify what's happening in this market, right? So like, for example, with UJ, I still have hope on UJ, right? I still do believe it's going to be bearish. I just want to see what it's trying to do right now. Is it looking to take out some highs before making that low, right? What I really want, what I'm really referencing is this area right here. This market pulls back, and now we have a reference area that we're looking for it to sell off of, right? So as long as it can stay under this, especially look at where that stop loss is, above that structure, we're good to take it down into these lows. So right now I'm just being a little patient with UJ. Yeah, I kind of got stopped out on this bad boy as this pushed aggressively. So I'm really patient just to see if we can get a potential re-entry to minimize. I'm talking about really minimize if it does want to turn around, right? That would be something interesting. But the key thing is it needs to stay in this box, right? As long as it could stay in this box of rejection and it doesn't break above this high, then we'll be good. We'll be golden. The good thing that I do want to reference is this area of price that was once what? Supportive. If it can continue and then boom, it broke, resistance, resistance. So these are just some confirmations, some confluences that I'm personally looking for to see if we can get this UJ bearish push to the downside, right? Now, other than that, let me just see real quick. This is not as good, but it's in a very ugly spot right now, right? Just because this can be easily a wick, but then it could easily try to take this high. So what I would do, like I said, is be patient with how it's at in this area. If it can kick under this trend line, I would love for that flow to the downside, right? What I'm looking for is that rejection off of this area. Once it breaks to the downside, right? Let it figure itself out, right? If it wants to target these highs, great. But the key thing is once it breaks down into that downside, if we don't get that, I'm not entering because then we'll be able to take it into our targets of where we're going. You know, you got to realize this setup that came in earlier did its move, pulled back and went straight into some targets. So unless it creates that momentum back again, this is just an ugly retracement that it's dealing in, right? But it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad as long as it could kick back to the downside on this UJ. If not, we can't reference it. Don't try to sell it all the way up here because it's already breaking highs, right? This right here is the most recent high, right? So we want it to stay under. If anything, stop them out and then short. Let's see, UCAD. Pull any Enigma setups. This one was a little late, but it actually went into TP1. You know, that's the thing. A lot of people, you got to see it. The way this bad boy literally gives you the entry, boom, and hits TP1. If you're already up, 15, 20 pips, look at that. That's already 15. Take your profits. Minimize your risk. Because best believe you will have something like this, a powerhouse. Look at that. Ooh, let me see real fast. I got to make sure my pullback pips is on my 1 hour. There we go. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Right? When you get that confirmation, it's game over. Look at this one right here. This one right here, Enigma said, you know what? We're bearish. Pullback pips says we're bearish. You sell that bad boy, right? You will have losers, of course. But the key thing is, imagine if you would have taken those three setups right here, 1, 2, and 3. First off, this one right here, who knows if that one literally could have just been your whole flow of over 200 pips. And your stop loss, give me 1 second. Stop loss is minimal, right? Imagine something crazy like that, but you don't even need to do all that. I'm more of the let me grab my 100 pips, wait for a pullback kind of guy. But you literally see the momentum just flows on these setups, right? Like, look at this example right here. Right here, you see we got this entry, and then this entry. By the time these entries are flowing, right, you already got this target. Stop loss is minimal above that. It literally pushes into target 2. This right here is already, look, 80 pips on the first entry. Game over. Second entry, all hitting TP1 easily. All right, look at this trade setup right here. We're bullish, right? So this is what I would suggest. I'd suggest having Enigma, having your pullback pips with it so you can still see what's happening in the market, right? This was a scenario that the market did move into some nice targets, but best believe the pullbacks. You got to be careful on those pullback retracements, right? This one wasn't bad. It literally, you see, this one's interesting. And this is something that as you have this system, all you need to do is fill out the form in the back office. But literally, if you put this together, you have pullback pips. What is it doing? It literally is breaking all of that structure, right? So if Enigma is telling you to sell, you know that you're looking for a pullback to this structure, right, where that entry is, and you're going to reference that for a seller's market. right? When you're able to see all of that, you're going to be able to help just minimize everything, right? You have your stop loss, you have your targets. You can literally turn a 3-to-1 now into almost a 5-to-1 if you really could minimize, you know what I'm saying? And when you identify things like that, it's just a matter of time before the market does pull into your entry. That should be some rejection, and then potentially make that move that needs to the downside, right? So it's one of those things where you'll start to get real comfortable with how amazing this thing works on both ends. So let's fast forward that to where the market is currently at. I don't think we have any setup right now. Nope, no setup. So I'm gonna leave it alone. Let's see. A lot of these are gonna be, just straight up looking at the chart. If there's anything, there's something. If not, we gotta keep it moving, right? EU. This was my trade on EU earlier, but you see, like, let me show you guys something real quick. Like earlier right here, this entry that we had on EU to the upside, I'm gonna just show you how that played out. Because pullback pips is only on 2 time frames, the hour and the 2-hour. And you'll see, right? You'll be able to reference when you have a setup like this, right? And this bad boy literally hits target 3, boom, right? And you're bullish, you're still referencing that market. That's why we were able to identify this bad boy to pull up where? Into structure, right? So like, for example, right now with EU, I'd leave it alone. There's no setup currently. Definitely in a choppy situation. But if you want to just be patient, just see what it does at this reaction, if it wants to break through or not. Let's see the comments real quick. Hey, what's up? What's up? What are the yen futures and DXY? You see, the first thing is we could bring up the DXY. Right, we got DXY. We could look at the yen, see what it wants to do. That was probably more for my UJ. But for Enigma, it's only on Forex pairs. So like, for example, if you try to bring it up on these pairs, it'll give you the warning. But I'm just trying to see that dollar, pullback pips is telling us that we're bearish, but something that's really ugly is that it broke through this. It could easily try to come in targets these highs just off of this break. If it doesn't break bearish aggressively under that, then that UJ might just pull up a little too aggressive, right? That's why I'm saying, like, with that UJ, the only reference I have is this right here. This reference here. After it breaks through that, no go, right? Enigma does have our stop loss above this structure, so that's gonna allow me to just keep it minimal with that. Let's see what else we got. EJ. All right, so we were coming from some nice bullish pushes on EJ. We don't have anything currently, right? So let's just move it along, right? Like this right here. I know this EG right here, like right here. Oh my gosh, this setup was amazing, and it's still a nice play. Earlier this week, we talked about EG to the downside, and if you notice, what is it dealing with right now is consolidation. But really, this is going to be a question. Does it want to break through that, right? Our institutional setup gave us this entry that if you were in it, you'd be up about 32 pips. We have these target areas, right? Now, me personally, I kept the stop loss a little minimal because I like to keep it, 20, 30 pips above a reasonable area. But this is going to be interesting because if it does break this, right? Look at what pullback pips is saying. We're bearish. If it does want to break that structure, I wouldn't mind it continuing to the downside, filling that flow it needs, right? So this actually isn't bad at all if we can get this structure break, because once we get that structure break, then that should allow it to literally just continue to the downside, right? Having this key entry would have been amazing, but if you're looking for something such of an intraday setup, I would look for this setup like here, like look for this break. I could hold that restriction, but I'm just going to use the same targets, right? So let's push it into those targets and let's have a stop loss above price. Is our R to R above 3? Yes. So that's a setup I'd keep my eyes on. That's EG. EG. I don't think EU is ready. No, not at all. It already made its move. EA. Now, EA, look at that. This was the latest setup that we had on EA. Pull back pips. Back me up. There we go. You see what I'm saying? When you have these systems, they're going to work so much smarter, so you're not working as harder. Right? So EA is good. This was a nice scenario of how you could have easily turned this trade setup that's a 3-1, probably look to a 5-1. Right? That bad boy literally just kept taking it. All right, so I'm just gonna continue on. I'm gonna just so we can knock out these pairs. Right now, it doesn't look like we have anything on Enigma. The setups that we did were all bearish. Oh my gosh. Look, oh my goodness. Enigma was coming through with the sells, right? Like let's look at this example right here. Even though you got to realize when you're bearish, the market's going to want to come into those highs and do what? Stop you out. If you know that your institutional setup is a bearish setup, right? Then and you get stopped, you still just got to see what the market's doing. Is it showing rejection there? Because that setup could be easily that move that it needs to the downside, right? Look at this setup right here. It literally comes in, holding it, pushing it easily to the downside, right? Identifying those bearish moves were lethal. Right now, nothing yet. So I just need you to leave it alone. Leave it alone. EGN, this was earlier. This was, I believe, yesterday. It was beautiful. GN, EN, as you can see, both of them had some nice runs to the downside, hitting those targets like nothing. Let's see what else we got. Oh, okay. So this one's actually not too bad. Not too bad. This is G Swiss. Matter of fact, I'm gonna keep my eye on it. Let's see what it wants to do. I'm gonna leave this one and continue just so we could just filter out what's good, what's ugly. Nothing on here, but I remember that setup. Nothing here. Nada here. Nothing here. All right, just give me 1 second. We're gonna knock these out. All right, nothing here. All right. All right. I know if I was on 1 hour and the 2 hour, those are the only two time frames that, yeah, that one would have been valid. Yep, look at NU was crazy last week. We had some crazy buys on NU. Right? Look at that. Wow. Wowzers. Not only NU, but also NJ. NJ had some nice buys. Pullbacks confirmed them all. Look at that. Buy, 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 buy. Even if you got stopped here, you still knew you were looking to buy. So, don't rush the process. A lot of people want to rush these setups, but you got to understand these are institutional setups that are coming in. So it's just a matter of adding your confluences to them, right? Your confluences, your tools, and you're golden. So let's see what we have here. UJ, honestly, I've seen stuff like this. This is just a little ugly. It probably is going to try to take out these highs just because it did come off of a nice move already where it dropped, boom, 50 pips, right? So it's not only that, but it has been, it did pull back, give you the setup, create the move, give you the setup, created the move. So if it does decide to break above this area, leave it alone. Do not try to re-enter. That's the only thing I'll say on that. EG, right? Now currently on pullback pips, let me see, the 1 hour and the 2. Let me go to my 30-minute on Enigma. There we go. Yeah, we're bearish, but the only way that we're going to be bearish is if we break through this zone, right? I wouldn't do anything except once I see the break through that zone, let's reference these areas and try to short it. If we can get that, great. If it starts to pull back up and break this trend line, leave it alone, because clearly this area is very supportive, right? So the only way that we can get the continuation is if it breaks through that. That wouldn't be a bad setup to really keep minimal on your R to R. Doesn't look bad. G Swiss. Now I don't like G Swiss too much. Well, it's not that I don't like it. It looks great, and pullbacks confirms it. The only thing that's a little fishy about it is the GBP, right? I'm gonna have to figure out during London session, what does this GBP want to do? We got some good rejection around this area here, right? It easily pushed probably what, like 40 pips, 30, 35. So I'm going to be a little patient and see how is the rejection to this zone. If it wants to reject nicely, oh, that's a nice push to the downside. I don't have to have a stop loss all the way up there. If it rejects this area, you could literally minimize that stop and still keep those nice targets, which is going to make your R to R even better. That's the thing. That's the key thing. How can I cut my R to R, right? Cut my risk so I can get more reward. AUD CAD. Yeah, we got to leave that one alone. That thing already took off without us. AUD NZD. And NU. Yeah, those are all golden. So it looks like today there's nothing at the moment. But best believe if you are in the Discord, FX setups, these are the alerts that are coming in that are actually filtered out automatically. We do a COT analysis each week based on which markets would obviously show us more of a bearish or bullish opportunity. And these are the filtered ones, the ones that are in FX setups. So the great thing is you have your Enigma system, right? And then FX setups filters out for the week the system itself. So it's literally like a double plus on all ends. Let me see if there's any questions for today. If not, family, I appreciate your time. Only way we can get some good sauce out of this UJ is if it breaks to the downside, like now, right? I'm going to keep my eyes on it. If it creates some momentum, leave it alone, right? Right now, it's literally right in the decision maker position of, do I want to break to the downside or do I want to just fake and take out some highs, right? EG, we got to leave it alone until it breaks this area. It's showing a lot of wicks. So leave it alone until it breaks this area. G Swizzle. Only way I could short it is if I get good rejection off of this zone, right? We've seen that zone has been very supportive. So if there's some rejection there, hey, I'll be more than happy to keep my R to R minimal so I can maximize and do my thing, right? So with that being said, family, I appreciate all of you guys on this call. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them inside the Discord. Make sure you're inside the Discord community. You know, we got our trade talk. We got our trade ideas. Literally, Osman dropped some sauce the other day. Look at that. He dropped this Euro JPY. Look at that. To our community, and look at how it did. It literally hit that area, dropped nicely. Man, that was an amazing setup. You know, that's the type of stuff we want to be able to do, help everyone elevate. And what's even more impactful with that is being able to go into the profit zone and seeing members, you know, members taking advantage of these setups. Look at that. The sell, EJ. Look at that. This member literally made over $2,000 with that EJ setup. Not only that, but with some other analysis himself. That's powerful stuff right there. Powerful stuff, right? So I appreciate everybody on this call, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, family.